Alright guys, I'm back with my Thursday video. Again, this is Jesse, and today we're going to be talking about something that I know a lot of yo-yoers, and myself included for a while there, had trouble with, and that's dealing with when you ding a yo-yo. And, you know, we kind of get attached to our yo-yos. They're really special to us, and it kind of hurts. It really sucks to see them hit the ground and hit concrete or just get any sort of damage. But it's really not that big of a deal. For instance, this is one of my favorite yo-yos in my collection, the Cypher. As you can see, it is in rough shape, but it's one of the smoothest yo-yos I own. Some other yo-yos, my favorite yo-yo absolutely in my collection, my Bonfire. As you can see, you got a scuff right there, if it'll focus properly. Yeah, it's not gonna, oh well. I have a ding right here. So this one's taking some damage too, another ding right there. This is probably taking the most damage out of anything in my collection, or at least this half has, this shutter. One time I was doing a trick and I jumped up on the yo-yo, like I actually landed on top of the yo-yo trying to jump over it. And of course it was in rough shape after that. And then my Dark Magic 2, one of my oldest yo-yos in my collection. As you can see, all sorts of damage on that. So, how do you deal with this? Well, there's a few things you kind of need to realize. Wow, that exposure is terrible, isn't it? I can't really do anything about that, sorry. So, a few things that kind of need to be addressed when you're, hold on, wait. That's not better. So, when you're trying to deal with dinging a yo-yo, you kind of have to realize that no matter how much the yo-yo costs, it's still a toy. And toys are gonna get broken no matter what. You know, you wouldn't get pissed off if you I don't know, popped a ball you were playing with, or if one of your action figures got broken. And so it's really important to understand that yo-yos are still toys. Okay, so once you got that out of the way, it's also another thing to notice that damage doesn't necessarily have to affect how the yo-yo plays. Like I said, this Cypher I've got is one of the smoothest yo-yos I own. I mean, you can see it just has the tiniest amount of vibe, and if I take my fingernail, it has almost no vibe. And it's beat to hell. Some other yo-yos, almost dropped that. For instance, my Dark Magic 2. Now, that one has noticeably more vibe, but still, it's better than some yo-yos I've seen. So vibe doesn't necessarily have to it doesn't have to mess with the play of a yo-yo. I know my Bonfire, with the dings and nicks it's gotten, with this new bearing I just put in, I did, by the way, put that crucial single groove bearing in here, and it is phenomenal. It's dead smooth. Like, even, there's no fingernail vibe at all. It's smoother than it was before. So, it doesn't have to affect your play, and it affects the appearance of the yo-yo, but that's really not a huge deal, because if you're buying a yo-yo just to look at, then you probably shouldn't be buying it to begin with, because this comes back to yo-yos are toys. They're meant to be played with. And yeah, we try to take good care of our toys, and we get really good at playing with them. But at the end of the day, they're still toys that are meant to be played with, and they need to be treated as such. And that's not saying go out and damage your $150 yo-yo. Oh, it's a toy. No, it's take care of it because you want them to last. But at the same time, recognize that if it does take some damage, it's not the end of the world. I mean, you can, maybe not always, but you can get another yo-yo, you know? If I wanted to, I could go out and buy a new Cypher. But I don't, because this one, even though it has damage, it still plays fine. I have no reason to get a new one. My Shutter still plays fine, pretty smooth. My Skyvo, which has taken a few dings now, not as smooth as it was when I got it, but still pretty smooth. They're still fun yo-yos to use, and just taking a little bit of damage hasn't really affected that. And that's really a really important thing to sort of understand when you're trying to deal with dinging a yo-yo. It's a toy. And it's going to get broken, and it's going to take damage, and you're going to hit it on the concrete, you're going to hit it on the wall, you're going to hit the ceiling fan like I do all the time, because my ceiling fan is directly in the middle of my room. And it's not the end of the world. The yo-yo still plays fine. It can still hammer through your combos, and you can still develop tricks on it, And if you take it to a contest and show it to a bunch of people, you know, yeah, they'll notice there's dings, but no one's going to be like, wow, that's a shitty yo-yo because you dinged it up a little. No one, it's not a big deal. Now, like I said, you know, that doesn't mean go out and intentionally hurt your yo-yo. Don't take your $300 titanium dream, or however much that, I think it was $300. Don't take that and don't, like, walk the dog on concrete. But just take care of your yo-yos, but be aware that they are toys that are meant to be played with. And when they were developed developed knowing that they were going to get dinged. You know, I mean, Yo-Yo Factory doesn't roll out a new yo-yo without thinking, yeah, someone's probably going to hit the ground at this. It's a common problem, and I think when when yo-yo companies develop their yo-yos, more often than not, they sort of take that in mind, which is why we have these durable materials, like the One Star I just got. It is a pretty durable plastic. The Skyva not so much, because it's got these really thin finger spin cups, and so if you do manage to hit that too many times, it will eventually mess up. But it's, what is it doing? Okay, and so yo-yo companies will more often than not account for the fact that this yo-yo is going to take damage. And I think that's really all there is to it, is just sort of coming to grips with the fact that it's a toy. It's a toy you're supposed to play with. And that's like, I used to do this a lot, and I did actually until very recently, people who refuse to take a yo-yo apart. Now, I still try to take mine apart as little as possible, but it's more because I don't want to deal with trying to tune it back to the smoothness that most yo-yos will come with out of the box. That's just a personal thing, but it's, you know, it's a toy, and if you have string bound up in the middle and you can't get it out, I usually have handy a little set of precision electronic screwdrivers. I have a 6-pack of them for all sorts of string picking situations. That's why I bought them, to take the string out without having to open it. But if that's not the case, then just go ahead and open it up. It's not a big deal. So, and if you strict the axle, you can buy a new one. They're like $3. It's not a big deal. But really, the bottom line here is, and this encompasses all kinds of damage, not just dings, not scuffs, not just, you know, having replace axles or replace bearings, bending axles, whatever. It ultimately comes down to recognizing that these are toys, and they become expensive toys sometimes, but sometimes they're really cheap toys. Either way, they're still toys that are meant to be played with, they're meant to get damaged, and eventually, you know, they might get broken. It's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. Yeah, it might be your favorite yo-yo, but there are still plenty of great yo-yos out there, and I'm sure you have a couple. Really, that's all I have to say about it. Just recognize that they're toys. That's the end of it. So, guys, that'll be it for me today. I think on Tuesday I will do a review of the One Star I just got. And that'll be it for me today. Alright, guys, this is Jesse signing out.